Oh man. Hey friends, welcome to Reseller's Passion YouTube channel. I am here today with Melissa. I'm so happy you can join us today, friends, and I'll be checking in on you in a few minutes. I'm going to let a few more people join. Hey, Hanger Deals, Stark Raven Wild, hello from Georgia, back at you. I'm glad to see you. We're just waiting for a few more people to join.
Of course.
Oh, there. Hey, Angela, what's going on?
Hey, Angela.
Everyone tell us, you can promote yourself. Tell us where we can find you on Instagram. If you have a YouTube channel, I would love to support what you're doing. Happy Cowgirl Thrifter. Hey, Amy. Irish Lux Poshmark. Hey, from Connecticut. What's going on? You're right. You're not that far from me. What's
born in Connecticut.
Awesome.
Grew up in Washington, but I was born in Connecticut.
Oh, there's Bill. Girl Hubs. Hey, what's going on, Bill? So, friends, I am here today with Melissa. Melissa, tell everybody who you are and the name of your closet, and tell everybody what the name means.
Okay, my name is Melissa. I am Vandi's Closet, and it's basically a contraction of my last name because my last name is Vandridge. And I used to have an Etsy store that was Vandi Crafts. So I kind of wanted to stick with the Vandi thing because that was cute. So I did.
It is cute though. So that I already knew, I knew what your last name. And this is the funny thing is when we're like on YouTube, right? You see how people's names are popping up. You don't really know everyone's names. If you're continually following people and coming on people's lives, you kind of know them from that. So like when you're on, it's like, oh yeah, there's Vandi. But then I was like, that can't, let me check. And then I was like, oh, it's Melissa, so like people like a Reseller's Passion, they don't know I'm Leslie if they're joining me here. So that's pretty cool. So hey, new to you, Steals and Specialties. Hello, girly girl style. Hey, what is going on?
Hey, Tori.
Tori and Bill are superstars. Yes, they are. Don't say you're not. So Melissa, tell everybody a little bit about yourself, like who you are, where you're from, where you live, and a little bit about your business.
Well, I'm Melissa, and I live in Washington. I live in Everett, which is about 30 miles north of Seattle. I've been a full-time reseller for about a year. Well, yeah, for a year. But before that, I was part-time, but really full-time because I would literally work 2 jobs for about 2 years when I was a medical biller. And I live with my husband and my cat called Kitty. It's original, I know.
Oh, you have a cat called Kitty. I love it. I love cats. I had to give my cat away when I moved here. We live in a rental, and I moved from a different state to here, so I can't wait to move. So I'm gonna be a cat mom again. I love Kitty.
She's great.
So we connected on Instagram. It's one of those things that happens. One day you don't know someone, and the next day you're following, and then you see people in your feed like every day. And that's how the community is, right? It's like one day you don't know someone. Like a year ago, I didn't know Bill and Tori, but I know them now, and many of the people who are here. Yeah. And so how did you get started in this reselling world? You were doing some handmade things on Etsy. How did you make the transition from selling on Etsy to becoming a reseller?
Well, it was December of 2017, that I decided that, or maybe it was 16. Okay, it doesn't matter. That I decided my card making business wasn't really worth pursuing anymore. So I shut down my Etsy shop, and that was a few months had gone by. And in April, I saw an article about turn down my microphone. Sorry. I had seen an article about a woman who lives in Texas that was doing this full time and working for Poshmark, or not working for Poshmark, we're selling on Poshmark. And I didn't understand the concept. I never heard of Poshmark before. So I downloaded the app and I'm like, I could totally do this. So I started going to stores, and then I started selling, and then I discovered the bins. And I loved them. And then I hated them for a while, and then went back to thrift stores. And I love them again. So, and I miss them terribly.
Wait, your story is no different than anyone else's. Right. I've been going to the bins, the Goodwill outlet, for years. When I first met my husband and I moved here to Delaware, there was a brand new Goodwill outlet. And that was 4 years before I even started reselling. So that was just an everyday thing for us. But when I started reselling, it was a real thing. Before it was casual, right? You go in, oh, this looks cute. My children loved it. They take their cart and they get everything for school. They love that, and they can weigh their stuff and pay for it. But then when it became real, I was like, I'm not feeling it. And then I got really sick. My allergies got bad. And I stopped going for 6 months. And my doctor had to prescribe me medicine. And I already had my famous mask before everything that's going on now. Nice filter mask and everything. Right. And so it is one of those places where you can have a love-hate relationship. But when you stop going, you really think about what you're paying at the retail stores, right? Oh, and also it's like a treasure. It's like a treasure hunt. Like, so when you go to the bins, what's like kind of like an average day for you? What is like, there are people who stay like several hours. Do you stay like a long time? Like that's part of your business model where you go and you like, look, I'm going to break out this amount of time and I'm going to stay. And, I don't know if yours does flips or anything like that, but what is your model and how long do you stay? And what are you normally looking for when you're there?
I generally go for about 4 to 6 hours, but sometimes as long as 8 hours at the bins. I try to get there early, like when they first open, because it's usually pretty quiet. And then in a couple hours, and I get really busy. But I mean, before I started doing ThreadUp, I was looking for different items than I do now. Now that I do ThreadUp, I look for stuff that's I stopped picking up before, like Banana Republic and except for blazers. I was always picking up blazers because they sell well. But like Ann Taylor, Loft, that kind of stuff, I stopped picking up a long time ago, and now I pick it up because ThreadUp likes it.
Yeah, isn't that something? Because I have some of those things. I'm gonna have to go through. We're gonna talk about ThreadUp because I think it's a lot that people can learn, and it's a lot of misconceptions with selling. People have courses and things like that. I think that you can learn organically, especially from someone who's willing to share their venture, because it's enough for everybody. I mean, that's my bottom line about anything. It's like, it's not like I'm going to come to Washington and really get into your deal. Even if I did, I'm pretty sure you would be happy to have me at the bins with you. No, I love having a partner at the bins, man. Like, you like this here, that's the kind of thing that I do. Like, this is for you. So for people who don't know what ThreadUp is, tell people what ThreadUp is. We're going to start with that first.
Well, it's an online consignment. Just that's what it is. You get your stuff, you send it to them, and they do everything else. So they have a sliding scale for how much I charge. You send in really cheap stuff, then you get very little. If you send in a lot higher end, and I don't mean high end. I should rephrase that. Like mid-range mall brands, like Banana Republic and Loft, can bring better money. And I try to go for about $100 original retail and higher. So I think that's a good range to start with and then go up. I try not to get anything that would price less than $71 on their platform.
So normally, so tell everybody like what your procedure is. So like you're going maybe to the outlet and you're going to the different places that you're sourcing. You're looking for specific things. So how many items and how often do you send things to ThreadUp?
A lot. So there's a lot. Like December, I sent out 30 boxes to ThreadUp, and then I didn't do as much in January and February, but around 20 boxes a month is what I'm sending, and it's about 30 items per box. So you do that math. And I mean, I'm looking for like career stuff. I'm looking for things that like basically I look at the retail price that they're going to assign to it on ThreadUp. So I literally look up, like if I see a brand I don't recognize, I look it up on ThreadUp to see how they'll price it. If it's not on ThreadUp site, I don't send it to them because I don't know how they're going to price it. So, but most things I find they have on their site and they've priced it. And if it's priced for, I try to go for $100 or up, then I send it off to them.
So is ThreadUp similar to like the Real, where the Real, they actually have a list of brands that they'll accept, and they'll even break it down to like if it's, I don't know if they take Patagonia, but I'll use them for an example. Is it just the outside wear, or do they take the boots? But do they have a whole list, or are you just sending items the way you just said? Like you actually have to look them up yourself. Is there a list that people can go through? Because sometimes, and the reason I ask you that is for someone who wants to do it, but they're hesitant as to why should I send my things if I'm not really sure this is something they're going to take. Is there a way they can go in and just see like a list of items?
They do, but I wouldn't recommend it unless you're going off the Lux list. So the reason why I look up the item to see how they're going to price it, just because it's on a list that they're going to accept it, doesn't mean they're going to price it high enough for it to be worth it. So that's why I go and I use the search tool on the app or even on the website. But if I'm out, I'm using the app, obviously. And I search for that item. I search for, let's say it's Free People. I search for it and it's a Free People dress. I will look, see, because the way they price things is pretty universal. So Free People dresses, if it's a casual dress, they're pricing them across the board pretty much the same. Sometimes they're different, but most of the time they're the same. If it's a cocktail dress, it might be more. Or if it's pants, it'll be across the board pretty similar. So I'm looking to see how they price it before I send it off to them. Just having a list doesn't tell you that. Doesn't tell you how much they're going to price it for. And I don't like those kind of surprises when I send it and they're like pricing it for $30, but I know I could have sold that on my own for more. Because $30 will get me, I think 99 cents or something like that.
Okay, I'm going to come back and ask you a couple more questions, but I want to look in at our community and see who's here and who has any questions. I see my husband has already asked 2 questions so far. Thank you, Bill. Please put the thumbs up. My moderator's not here tonight. Hi, Noreen. Let me click there. There we go. She's Kristen. Hello, Kristen. New to you steals on Posh and falling down the rabbit hole on Insta. Another Washington. Hey, Washington is representing. That and is
and Kristen, we're friends.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. Thank you for joining us, Kristen. Thomas Tucker Jr., that's my husband. You should change that to Pasha Dudek, sweetie. Thread up. So it's THRED with a capital U and a P. Thread up. I'd say check it out. You love the research. And the other question he asked, is there a storage fee? No, there is no storage fee for them to hold your items.
And basically the way I equate it is it's the Amazon of the used clothing business. That's how I look at it.
Yeah. So how about talk about like when you're sending things to ThreadUp, right? What conditions are they usually looking for? I already know. I mean, I think it should be simplistic for us to figure out what to send, but just to make it simple, what should someone send if they're thinking about sending like at least their first box or bag to ThreadUp?
It should be stuff that's in good repair, no holes, no stains. It doesn't have to be new a tag. I get that question a lot. Like, was this new a tag? And I sell, when something sells for pretty high, I'm like, no, it was used, but it didn't have a lot of wear. So that's also a determining factor. If you can get on a lot of my listings, it says, this is in excellent condition. You might mistake it for brand new. That really helps it sell. So if you can get that on your listing, that helps it sell big time rather than it's faded. And sometimes they'll assign it's faded to something that's supposed to be faded, and that kind of sucks, but that's not the rule. It's really the exception. They do make mistakes. They use an AI to help them do the listings. So that's why things get messed up. Sometimes it's not a human messing them up. It's the AI messing it up, and it happens.
Yeah. That's right, Kristen. Put it out there. Definitely. I just started watching her videos, and so I'm trying to catch up. It's so hard, especially when you have your own channel and you're trying to catch up with all your friends and everything. But I'm definitely curious about ThreadUp, Thomas. There you go. And also follow her on Instagram, because she actually puts like the number, like what she made and everything. She put the item is up there. I look for those posts every single day because I'm curious as to see what you have. And this is the cool thing about ThreadUp, right, Melissa? They do all the work. And when you say they do all the work, tell everybody what that means.
Means basically they're doing all the pictures, they're doing all the descriptions, they do all the customer service, they ship it, they deal with any returns if it happens, and it happens, but it's not a real big return rate. And and then they give you your money after their return window goes by, unless it was pulled for a goodie box, then you get paid within a week. So
wow. So how many items have you gotten pulled like for a goodie box? And what is a goodie box for people who don't?
I haven't counted. It happens pretty frequently though. A goodie box is where I found it, you can self-curate your own goodie box. I didn't know that from before, but
yes, I saw that.
Or you ask the staff to curate it for you, and then they pull items. But when ThreadUp pulls items, they pay you right away for it. So I usually wait it's either a couple days or a week because they wait till they ship it in order to pay you. So yeah. And otherwise, if it's just a straight sale, you have to wait. Right now, it's a 45-day window because that's temporary. It's usually 14, but they extend it to 45 through this situation.
Nice. Now, I have a question for you. I'm not sure if you know the answer, but since you do send items to ThreadUp, a lot of times if you go to ThreadUp, they will have an item listed as unbranded. Do you know why they do that, especially if it does have a brand?
If it's not in their database.
Okay, so if it's not in their database, they'll just name it unbranded. So you're just
it's usually sorted brands. I mean, they sometimes will put unbranded. I think that's for things that don't have a label on them, and I'm not sure how they even have it listed if it has no label because they don't accept things without a label. I don't know. I have no idea. Some of the things that happen, I just don't understand.
Okay.
But sometimes if it's on their database, they put assorted brands, but they do make mistakes. Like they've done it to Nike. I know someone that sent it in and sent it to Nike something, and they put assorted brands, but Nike is in their database, so
yeah.
Mistakes do happen.
That is the most popular brands out there.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, so especially right now. So when you send your items, I'm curious. As I don't know about anybody else, but I'm like curious for myself. So as you're talking, like more things are coming to my head.
Sure.
When you send your items, say you said you sent like 30 boxes. Now, what happens if they don't accept something? Do they accept all your items? Do you say, I don't want anything back? What is that process?
Well, if it's a standard label, I always pick the return assurance, which is $10.99. You only get charged if they didn't accept if they didn't accept something, then you get charged that. But if they accept everything, they don't charge you that. So that does go away if they accept everything, which has happened to me about 5 times. They accepted 100% of my items.
That's great.
But normally it's about 80% for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I pay really good attention to detail. Although I do miss things, like sometimes I miss an armpit stain, and I get it home, I get it back, I'm like, oh, that's why.
Mm-hmm.
You got to pay attention to sweat stains on the neck, and mensy stains for dresses and pants and stuff, and they only accept women's. That's probably good to say. They don't accept men's.
Mm-hmm.
It's women's and children's, but no men's.
Okay.
So people will do that. They'll send in a box of men's, and they won't do the return assurance. And if that happens, ThreadUp will own the whole box.
Yeah, and then they'll send it like to donation or something like that, right?
They probably put in their reject box.
Okay. Wow.
That's
and so, do you know how they figure out what goes into the reject boxes?
Not entirely. I think it's a good educated guess. Now, some of it's like obviously they're rejects when people send in things and they don't opt for the return assurance on a standard label. But quickly, if you do a Lux label, the return assurance is built into that. So, but in order to do Lux, you have to include Lux brands.
Right.
And I am doing 2 to 3 now. I used to do 1, and now I do 2 to 3 per box because I've heard of people getting cut off from not sending enough Lux brands with their box. And I also think they probably might be sending garbage. Mm-hmm. So people send things that hold and really pilly, and don't send things like that because it kind of ruins the program at that point.
Yeah. So elaborate on that. So basically what you're saying is it's not like you're sending donations to a Goodwill. Like when you're home and you want to get rid of things. So like now would be a time when people really say, you know what, let me send what I have to ThreadUp, because if the thrift stores locally to them are still closed and they can't go to their regular place to send their donations in, they think, oh, maybe I can just send it to ThreadUp. So explain to them that it's not that kind of place. Like really, like what condition? I mean, we talked about that, but a little bit more specific in terms of like you just can't send crap.
Well, yeah, I mean, you want to have no stains, no holes, and free from pilling and stuff like that. It has a better chance of getting accepted. They do have a bag that you can like opt for charity. Yeah. So I don't know in that bag because I've never done it. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that bag if you could send crap, but people do, and that's why that email they send you saying, oh, well, we accepted 96% of your items. Normally it's 44%, but I think it's because of 44% because people send crap.
Yeah. I do it both ways. I'll send things for donations, and I already years ago was giving money to Girls Inc. That was an organization. So ThreadUp does give your money and you get your receipt, and it's good for write-offs and things like that. So that's easier for me. Like if I know I don't want anything back, especially since I've restructured my business and I'm going to be focusing more on shoes and things, I don't have a lot left over to send to ThreadUp. I probably have 2 more boxes to send to them because I were doing mystery boxes. And I said, you know what? It's too much work. I don't feel like doing mystery boxes. I'm going to send things to ThreadUp. So I don't want anything back. You know, I want to get money. And I specifically, just like you said, I know this is specifically going to be a donation box because I know it's just not going to be those things that they're going to pay me for. So you have to really think about that, people. You want to make sure you can get your items back, right? Melissa, and you want to make sure that if you're going to do a donation bag, make sure it's a donation bag because they're not sending you stuff back. They're keeping it, and they're going to send you your receipt though, because that just happened to me today. You pick the organization that you want your items to go to, and the money from the items, and then they'll send you a receipt, and you can use it for next year 2020 tax.
Well, that's good to know. I didn't even think about that before. Yep. I might have some stuff that I might not want to send back.
Yeah, so that's the cool thing. It's like, because when it comes back again, you're like, I sent it to them for a reason, and there's nothing about our local thrift stores, Goodwill, or anything like that, but you don't know what's going to happen with it. You don't know if you're taking from having it, now it's going right back, being redistributed. So I love this opportunity now, doing the stay at home and quarantine. We have time to really think about what's actually happening with the items that we've been dealing with for a long time. Like now, what can you do if you can't just take your stuff to the donation site? Thomas and I, we've been giving things away. I did 4 huge bags, construction trash bags, and then I put an ad on Facebook Marketplace, and I said it's free. I put a sign and I stuck it right outside, and I said first come first serve, and it was good stuff. Nothing was like I would throw away or get rid of stuff if nothing had holes, but it was just stuff that, in the beginning when you first start sourcing or whatever, and you're like, why did I? So it was things like that. Families could use it, and one lady came and she took everything because I think she worked at a women's shelter.
Oh, cool.
See, yeah. And then the next day, Thomas said, well, what did you do? Because I want to do the same thing. So he had 5 bags. I put the ad on Facebook Marketplace. First come, first serve. And I put the ad out at 11 o'clock at night. When I woke up at 7, that stuff was gone. So it's just a really great way to get rid of, knowing that a physical person is going to come and get your stuff instead of it just going right into Goodwill. Okay, let me see who's over here. Hanger deals. Okay, this says right here, if you do a Lux box, you get the items back for free. If you want your items back in the Lux box, you pay $10.99. That's what Melissa just said.
That's not true, though. To get your stuff back, it's not $10.99. It's $6.58. Okay. So you can put up to 35 items in your bundle. It's basically like you're shopping. You just put it in your cart, and then you check out, and it's to get your items back. But if it's a standard label, then you would have to do the $10.99 in order to.
So what about this question here?
Yeah. So that's what I'm talking about. That's the $6.58 is to get your stuff back. Let's say they accepted it and they went through it at 60 or 90-day period to reclaim your items. It would be put in your cart, check out, and it's $6.58 after tax, because it's $5.99, but then there's a little bit of tax on top of it. But I reclaim 35 items at a time, but I have anywhere from 700 to 1,000 items on consignment at a time. So when I'm reclaiming a lot usually at a time. Yeah. And I always saw someone's answering it. I'm looking in the chat too.
Oh, that's Hanger Deals. Hey, Lara. Hello, darling. What we say?
People get very confused about the return assurance and the reclaiming, and they're 2 very separate charges.
Well, that's why you're here, because we want to find out what's going on. Like, there's a lot of, and not everyone knows the answer, but I'd rather get information for someone who's continually, sending things and getting paid from ThreadUp, so you have more experience than the normal person, especially if they're just getting started. So it's different if you kind of hear it through the grapevine, but you continually are sending things. Hey, Quimby.
Well, and there's so much misinformation out there. And I didn't do ThreadUp for the first 2 years of my, for 2.5 years of my reselling journey, because, there's so much out there saying, oh, you'll get nothing, you'll get pennies. Yeah. I see it still being said in chats and stuff like that, and just drives me nuts a little bit. But it blows my mind about, that's why I started giving away for free. I'm like, this is really not the way people thought it was. I could have quit my job way sooner had I been doing this way earlier.
You've been doing it, yeah. And you just made a really good point. You made a point and kind of sums up the whole way I live my life. Like, I don't base anything on a person telling me something. I rather try myself, right, and fail, or try and they come back and say, yeah, we're just not going to take any of your stuff. And then I will say, I will learn from that. Now it's time to look for some better things to send and try again. So you can go ahead.
I didn't do it that way though.
You said you
I
didn't
had
do
to pay $100 for a course for ThreadUp. I paid $100. That's the best $100 I've ever spent.
Well, that's good then. That's
absolutely
good. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I took it's Chriselle's course. She's on Instagram. And she's fantastic. She created this course, and a friend of mine on Instagram was promoting it. And so I used her code. She got a little bit out of it. And I'm like, I'm gonna try it. I have $100. I'm gonna try this. And I've gotten back so much more. I made about 12,000 so far.
That's good. That's good. Now you're gonna have my husband thinking. So we're all about courses because I'm all about making courses and things like that myself. And I say to people, do not hold yourself back. Don't listen to the roaring crowd that you can't create a course or something because I wrote an ebook and it's selling. So like, don't listen to that. It's a myth. And so I think definitely if it's something that people can afford, and we can definitely leave that information in the comments later if you send me a DM. I mean, I've seen it, of course, going through Instagram. So you leave me a DM, I'll put it right definitely in the comments so that people can take advantage of that. And if you have a code or whatever.
I do have a code
yourself. Yeah. So we'll do all that for you. Okay, let me see who else is here. Christy, hello. What does this say? I had a new tags item show is like new, excellent, and you can see the tag in the photo.
Me too. And I don't tend to even have them correct it because it's still pricing the same way. It's still sold that item I had. Whatever.
And one thing we have to remember with anything, I know we get anxious and we get upset and it's our money and everything, but these still are human beings that are like working. So anything is human error. It's like things, we don't know how fast things are coming in for them. We don't know the behind the scenes. So you just have to take everything and just kind of breathe in and breathe out. I mean, it's different if months went by and you didn't get paid, or if they put, poor quality, but still sellable or whatever. Because you know how some of it'll say a little pilling or whatever on there, right. But still, it would be different if you knew your item was quality. That's different. But just like Melissa said, hey, that's going to happen. These are real people. And these times right here, not saying you should let anybody take advantage of you, but times are tough. There's probably people who are like being safe and staying home. So now they're down to half their staff. So they're probably being really bombarded. So just breathe in, people, breathe out. Yeah.
I pick my battles. I mean, my time is worth money. So if I can't nitpick everything they do wrong, because they do some things wrong. If it's not a big deal, if it doesn't affect my bottom line, I don't worry about it.
Yeah. Okay. That's an interesting thing. Now, do you also get boxes from ThreadUp and you go through? Awesome.
Yeah, I recently got one of their 15-piece designer boxes. It wasn't my box was good. Like, so if you see that, go watch.
I've heard some challenges, but I did.
And other people had not as good boxes. Some people had so-so boxes. I mean, some people were really upset over some of their boxes. I'm like, I wouldn't be upset over this box, but it's all subjective too. So, I mean, some people thought my box was crap. I'm like, I love my box. I send it all back to ThreadUp except for one thing.
Yeah. And that's, and it's really all about perception,
right?
I think, with anything that you do, because that's the difference between you and I or anyone else who's reselling. The way I see something and perceive it is totally different. Like I may look at a Luxe brand different than a person who totally knows a Luxe brand, you just do the best you can. But that is really interesting that I saw that a lot when people were paying for the box. It's like a $300 box. Is that the one? And some people were like, yeah, this is just like crap or whatever. I didn't delve deep into it. I see it only because of the language, not like cussing, but just the whole negativity. I scroll past that. I love to see a person who's kind of giving it, again, like you said, the benefit of the doubt, so you don't, so a lot of times you don't know what's worth $300.
Well, and a lot of them are only basing it off of eBay or Poshmark comps, and they're not even thinking about sending it back to ThreadUp.
Exactly. I think it's really smart. Anybody else besides Angela and Melissa do that? Well, I did that. So I'm a ThreadUp shopper anyway. And I don't often get the rescue boxes. I'm a person, especially at the end of the year when ThredUp or any store has their sales, there's tons of coupon codes and things like that.
Right.
That's the time to like look for items, and you click on the $0 to $10 or whatever. I've never had a rescue box, but I've actually just sourced directly from them. Like I just had 3 pairs of shoes come to me, and I paid like $5.99 a piece for each pair of shoe that I have comped up to one pair at least $60. So it's a deal. So you just take your time and figure out what works for you. If you want to get a rescue box, get a rescue box. But if you want to take time, just sit on the site and go through. If you have some brands in your mind, you have to get creative, especially now. Then what can happen is, what happened to me when I decided, you know what, I want to streamline my business. Melissa, I had 1,200 items on Poshmark, and I decided I'm going in a different direction, right? Mm-hmm. So now I whittled it down. I have 350 items available. That's how much stuff I took out of my closet. Yeah. And I whittled it down. I sent things to ThredUp. Again, I gave the free stuff away, but the things I sent to ThredUp were things I already had purchased from them. Yeah. So in my head, I'm going, yeah, they're going to take them because they were really great items, nice designs and things like that. No problems with them. I just got to a point where I was like, I had too much inventory. So you just have to think from that perspective. I think that's a wonderful idea. I've done it before, but a lot of people probably don't think that, like, once they have it in their hands.
Yeah.
But that, I also hear that about the Real, where especially if you're just starting to sell some items there and you're not really sure, and they send your items back, and you look at it and you say, oh, there's nothing wrong with it. Send it back again. It doesn't hurt, because just like I said before, people are human, right?
Right.
So
and I think it also depends on that person's taste.
Yes.
So I think sometimes things get rejected because they don't like it personally. And they're like, no, and they send it back to you. I've had things I've had to send in 3 or 5 times to get accepted, and then they sold once they got accepted.
That is good.
Yeah.
What are you saying, Quimby? New to you still, it's a women's rescue box for $60. Okay, well, that's a $60 one. Then they have the scarves, and they have the shoes, and then they have the denim. Some of them go really fast. Some of the luxury boxes weren't even going for a while. They had been sitting. Like, I would go in, because I go in every now and then, because I wouldn't mind getting a shoe box just to see what's going on. Thomas and I are big on shoes, and everything sells so quickly. And I was like, oh, the Lux box is sitting there. But then next thing I know, this person had a box. This person had a box. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm curious what you're getting for $300 out of that.
Someone alerted me on Instagram today, like, oh, they're back up, and I was gonna go buy one, and I was too late because I was filming a video and I saw it like an hour. So.
Yeah, and that's because Quimby says the same thing. I think she does. I don't know if it's Quimby or somebody else with the Goodwill. I think it's Quimby, and then she gets the Goodwill blue boxes. I think they have, and then when they announce it, you have to take it. Yeah, Quimby, tell us about the blue boxes from Goodwill. Quimby's going to be on the 21st. But talk about the good. It's the same type of box, and I don't know how often they do it. So put that information in the comments. And she talks about that often.
Yeah. I've seen videos on that though, and like, it's people that are doing the videos. Sometimes they're very positive, and sometimes they're not. It's
yeah, definitely. I missed the conversation on that. You make a video. These are fun right now. Haha. The new haul of 2020 mailed to your doorstep.
And I have to say, I've done quite a few rescue boxes, not just designer, just in general. And I've never not made my money back and made a profit. Yeah. So I think it really is how you look at the item. Yeah. Everything is pretty much sellable in my view, right? Even things that are like Walmart brands. I don't pick them up on purpose, but if I were mailed one, I would probably still try to sell it.
Yeah. Well, that's the way that I think about it too, because if you think about, like, trends, right? It really doesn't matter what store if it's trendy for that time, because I love Walmart, so it ain't no shame in my game. Walmart and Target look really $2 tank tops. You can't beat it, right? Every summer I'm getting like 20 tank tops. So it's nothing wrong with that. But you go and you see like a flowy dress or something for clearance, even though it's Walmart, it may be discontinued. And that person was trying to get that dress last year, and it's at your Walmart. Now you take it home, you purchased it for $8. You don't know what you can get.
Yeah.
So it's like, just like Melissa said, but that's the whole saying, what works for you may not work for someone else. We get like hyped. Melissa is teaching, but her techniques may not work for someone else, and then you go to somebody else. All the people that I've learned from, what's working for that person may not work for me, because then you see someone mention J. Crew and Anthropology, and they go out and buy all this stuff and they can't move it. you know? So you have to really kind of just like research and then try.
Right.
That's all you can do is try it, send it, and see what happens.
And I think a lot of that with what might work for me, what might not work for you, I think a lot of it is based on attitude, honestly. You know, if you have the right attitude towards something, I think it might work the same way. You know, especially if you've been able to do it over and over and over and over, and that person tried once and couldn't make it work. You know, I think you have to try it more than once.
Yeah, I think I definitely do too. Yes, Hanger Deals does have a YouTube channel. And here's Quimby. She says, I love the blue box for only $19.99. How many items do you get in there, Quimby? And what has been your experience?
Because I love
Sensible Wear. Hello, Sensible Wear. Let me go back up. Just making sure I'm not missing anyone. Lori Owens, hello. And Christy is, wait, I saw something that jumped out at me. What is this? It says, I got an email from ThreadUp asking if I'd like to cancel my rescue shoebox because they won't be able to process for at least a month. Wow. I wouldn't cancel.
I wait.
You don't know I like a shoebox. Like, no. But that's up to you. But shoes are really that thing where sourcing, it could be hit or miss. So if you're going to get a rescue box, I would say just wait for it. And it might process before a month. They're just giving you an estimation. That is not definitely the time. That's like something if you're getting from Amazon and they're like, yeah, it's 2 weeks out. Next thing I know, in 3 days, it's coming to my door. So don't cancel it if
one thing I've learned from ThreadUp is they are not very good at giving you any static kind of dates. It's always a guess on their end.
Yeah, so it says sometimes I don't like the items, think they're bad brands, but guess what? In all caps, the stuff all sold, especially the denim. So Quimby is a testament to exactly what Melissa was saying. You don't know. And for $19.99, but just tell me how many items come in that for $19.99, Quimby. For $19.99, you can't beat that. And what's this right here? You get 10 to 12 items a box for $24.99. Is that ThreadUp? Oh, she says, no way I'm canceling. That's good. Okay. So it says, I'm very chatty, guys. I had a nap and then bang energy. I had a nap too, Kristen. Let me tell you, I slept for 3 hours today. I was super good. I was like, I had an interview up and running. And I was like, there's no way I can be falling asleep on Melissa. So I have to get a nap. And I went to sleep at 3 and I woke up at 6. I was like out. So I'm glad you're here too. I love meeting new people and making new connections. And that's really what it's all about. It's like people who didn't know Melissa, now in my community, they know Melissa, and people who didn't know me, now in Melissa's community know me. So that's really what it's about. We all making connections with each other. Does anybody have any questions for Melissa? So Melissa, as I was going through your Instagram bio, right? You had all the things that you're doing in there. Like, I'll come back to YouTube in a minute because I want to talk a little bit about your YouTube. But are you still selling on other platforms? Because you have them listed. You have like Poshmark and eBay and a couple other things in the Mercari. Absolutely. Or are you, aside from ThreadUp, are you listing on those platforms? And if you are, what are you listing there if you're sending a lot of things to ThreadUp?
I'm basically listing the things that are like men's or vintage. Or although I have sent some vintage items to ThreadUp and they didn't realize it was vintage and they still sold it and still accepted it, which is kind of funny. But the thing is, if it doesn't have a tag on it, like a label, a brand label, and if it doesn't have a size tag, they just won't accept it. So if it has those elements and it's 30 years old, they'll still take it. But I do list on both. I have like 1,200 listings on Poshmark. I do eBay, and I use List Perfectly to cross list everything. I cross list to Grailed for the men's stuff. And I use Mercari, and I've been getting more sales now. I've been listing more on Mercari. Imagine that. But I pretty much do the things that are too cheap to send to ThreadUp too. So that I'll make more money if I just do it myself rather than send it to them and they take a giant cut because it's cheap.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
It was sold inexpensively.
Yeah. Then you said something which is really interesting. Mercari is definitely picking up. Yeah. It's a flyer for me. I'm like, wow. I opened up my Mercari last year. No, and actually 2018 when I was doing my taxes, I went in and saw that I made one sale in 2018. I didn't even remember that was active then. And I only made 8 sales last year just because I said, let me try it. And then I slacked and they deactivated all of my listings. And so this year, just when we got the stay-at-home order, I said, let me look around my house and see some of the things that I took off my eBay store and start listing them.
Right.
And puzzles have been going like crazy. Any electronics, and I've been breaking everything down because I have games. So every week I pick about 5 things, and then I cross list some things from Poshmark, and they've been selling like anything pajamas. Tons of. I just got this big bra box in. So Macari has really been is a winner. My husband, who's been selling on eBay for many, many years, you talked about that last night, closed down his eBay store, and now he's selling Macari and Poshmark 100%. So that's he really likes Macari. Like, he's like, why did it take him so long? So one thing is, you said you sell on Grail. Can you talk about that a little bit? Because my husband Thomas is interested, because he has a lot of men's items. What has been your experience with Grail, and what do you feel kind of sells a little bit there?
Well, I've only sold 2 things on that platform. So I haven't been trying to cross list there for that long. I have maybe 50, 60 items on there right now. So I need to get more items on there. I don't generally tend to carry a lot of men, but I'm trying to break into that more. And I mean, I think they were both t-shirts. They were both graphic t-shirts I think I sold on there. So graphic tees seem to be doing okay on there. Out of my 2.
Yeah, graphic t-shirts, I will tell people, if you're not into graphic t-shirts, you need to jump on that. Now, what I will say, just be careful. Don't get crazy about it, and don't buy cheapies either.
Band tees do well.
Yeah, band tees, like for real. Band tees, like I've sold everything from Metallica to Blake Shelton, so you have to really think about it. And like vintage band tees sell the best.
Right.
Another thing that you can do, I don't think my friend Wendy Span is on, but Wendy just started tie-dyeing. That's big. You know how tie-dye it comes, like when you're over a certain age, you're like, yeah, we've been doing tie-dye forever, like it's not a big deal. But it's coming back again, only more so because people are home now and they're getting crafty again. And it's been selling for years. It's nothing new. Melissa may be tie-dyeing and she can sell all that stuff, and then I may tie-dye, and we have different ways we do it. So Wendy just tie-dyed some. My friend Wendy just tie-dyed some Marilyn Monroe t-shirt, and she put it for sale on Poshmark. But I'm telling you guys this. So if you have some graphic tees that have been sitting, spruce them up a little bit. And especially if they're dark, take some bleach, half water, put it in a spray bottle and spray, and come back in an hour, and it's just going to be a beautiful thing. Do some shorts, some distressed shorts and things like that. I'm telling you, it's a game changer. But I definitely check out Grail. Someone had asked about that, and I said, well, I've never sold there. Because I was just kind of getting into men's myself. But then I said, you know what? I can only do one thing at a time. It seems like I do a lot, but I really think about things before I jump in, try it, and then I just don't want to put a whole lot of time in something that's not going to really move for me.
Well, to be perfectly honest, if it wasn't on List Perfectly, I wouldn't probably cross list it there. Just because it's so easy to do it. If I had to do it on my phone again, I will never go back to listing on my phone again. Never. But if I had to, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah. The listing on the phone is interesting. It's interesting. That's what I like about my tablet, because it's like between my laptop and my phone. That phone now, when I look at my phone, I start looking. I'm like, everything's so small.
Check Instagram.
Crazy, but like my tablet is like just the right size, and I can walk around with that thing all day long. But I tell people, listing from the laptop is a game changer, man. Yeah. And I mean, regardless if you're using a listing service like List Perfectly or Vandi or something, like it's still, I think it's easier, especially if you have a mouse. If you have a mouse, man, you can click away all day long and list and do whatever. So you just find something that works for you.
Right.
Because I definitely say if you can afford to pay for a service, but what I do tell people now is Melissa's already been using List Perfectly, and that's what she's using. Don't go out and do it if it's adding an extra if you don't have the income for it. Okay. Right now times are tough. You don't want to do anything. You don't want to go out and buy any any lighting. You don't need a new steamer. I can't speak for your situation, but we don't know what could change in an instant. You see what we're living through. So you want to make sure your income is straight before you commit to things. Because I definitely do recommend that if you can afford a listing platform, to go for it, because especially when we start going back to work, people who are working full time, it will help you definitely, because I do support whatever businesses, List Perfectly or Vandi, and VA services, whatever you need to work your business. But don't do it because you heard someone say they use it. Make sure you have the money, you're making money, and you have a savings and a checking aside.
Well, I used to use a VA, and then I fired my VA because things weren't working out. And then I heard of List Perfectly, but I was on the wait list. I couldn't use it because I missed their thing. And yes, and I have a $10 credit. Thank you.
Yay!
And so I started using it once I got able to use it. I was like, oh yeah, I won't go back to a VA. Yes, I do. I actually do. It's how I shop. So when I go to thrift stores, I actually don't buy anything from a regular thrift store that I'm going to usually, sometimes I do, but usually if I'm sourcing higher end things to send to ThreadUp.
Yeah.
If I go to the bins, I'm taking things I used to not get to send to ThreadUp, specifically. Good night, Bill. And yeah, so it has changed my entire business model, but it's allowed me to move way more merchandise at the same time I'm listing at home. So I'm a single person. I mean, I'm not single, I'm married, but I'm a single business owner. Like I'm the only one that does this. My husband would rather put glass in his eye than help me. So
wow. Tell him he needs to meet Thomas. That's how I got started because of my reselling.
Oh, no.
It's not the reverse. Yeah. So
he is the most stubborn person you'll ever meet. And he's English.
That guy.
So, well, English people can be so stubborn. He is. So.
Oh gosh, he's probably like, I'm surprised he hasn't wrote anything in there. Yeah.
Nope. He wouldn't even watch.
Yeah, so when you're like, that is a really interesting process. What so you work from home.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, you're a reseller, you work from home. Like, what is kind of like a typical day for you?
Oh, I need to structure my day better, to be perfectly honest. But I have an office. I'm in my office right now. It's separate from all the other places in the house. This is where I take my pictures or film my YouTube videos with this wall behind me. My basement, I have a daylight basement that has about 1,000 square feet. That's where I store all my inventory. And right now, my process has been recondoing my inventory because I realized like half of it isn't listed, but it's in those bags.
Nice.
So yeah. Audit your inventory often. There's my tip for today.
Yeah. So say that tip again.
Audit your inventory often. So I'm taking the stuff and I'm separating it. If it's listed, I put it back in the bag. If it's not listed, or it's a brand that I should be sending to ThreadUp, like Lucky Brand or Free People, I'm pulling it and I'm sending it off. Intimately Free, they sometimes screw up and they price out really low. So I don't tend to send Intimately Free, but Free People, I do send.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really important to have like a good inventory system. Yeah. This is the time now because so many people do have a career and they're running and they have children and everything. You cannot be focused. You're coming home trying to figure out how can I feed my children and work this side business because you started it for a reason. You need the money, but you don't have time. So now if you're home, it is the time. I did the same thing. I cleaned my whole office. Right now, you can't tell if you were to see it, but once a week now I do it. But it was a mess. I did before and after, and I also did a video just kind of going around and showing you the completed process of the office. But you should definitely, because my inventory works in such a way that if I was sick or I went away, anyone can send my items off. Now, Melissa already said her husband's not doing anything, want to help her, but it's just that simple. Like what would happen if something happened? You need someone just real quick. Like if you made some sales, right? And you had an accident, you broke your leg or something, you had to go to the hospital or whatever. Right. You made some sales. Now how are my sales going to get out? So it's so streamlined in a way that my husband can come pull my shoes off, print my label. And thankfully for me, it works because he is a reseller. But it should be streamlined in such a way that if you had to get on the phone with a girlfriend to come to your house and you were in the ER or something, you can just say A, B, C, and D, and they can get it for you. So,
and I can do that. My husband would like pull my inventory if I broke my leg. He would totally do it because I guilt him. He would totally do it. He loves it. He'd do it. But it's not that it's a good system. It's just that the problem is I opened a second closet and I got permission. So if anyone had any hate there, I got permission.
No, I've had one too. Yep.
And because I had an idea what to do with it and it didn't work out. So I delisted all that inventory, but I didn't import it back into List Perfectly. And a lot of it's in these bags. It's like 300 or 400 items. So that's what's not listed. And so I'm doing that to pull this back out and say, do I really want to relist this myself or send this to ThreadUp?
Yeah, and that gives you a really good opportunity, though, to send some items to ThreadUp.
Right.
I like those surprises. My friend Danielle, I was talking about her earlier, Ivy and Blush Bottega, she did the same. She was going through some stuff and she came up with like, oh my gosh, I have like all this inventory. And she also did like a real. She had these boxes stacked up from like the real. It gives you an opportunity to kind of go through again, because you, especially say for instance, if this was like a year ago, now it's time to really start checking comps and things like that and figuring out, again, do I want to sell them on Poshmark or do I want to put everything in a box or a bag and send it off to ThreadUp? It's been sitting there. That's potential income. So I definitely say to people, go through, and that's like what I did. Like I went through, I organized everything. And so what I did was I said, let me do mystery boxes. I said there earlier, I'm going through I took all those mystery boxes off. Next week, I'm going through everything and I'm sending all that stuff to ThreadUp, because there's a lot of really great brands, a lot of stuff that's new with tags. And I don't want to sell like clothes. So there's a perfect opportunity to send and do it. Let me just, sell my shoes and all my bras.
I mean, I'm happy to do. Bras are so easy to list.
Oh gosh, bras are so wonderful, especially plus size bras. My kids shipped for me while I was out of the country, 14 and 19. That's right, train them, Kristen. I found many flaws in my system. Had time to fix it. Now though, here's to my next time. Exactly. Yeah. It's like, but that also helps you, because again, like say for instance, Melissa's husband did have to do it for her, and she thought something was where it's supposed to be, and he's telling her it's not here, so it gives her a chance when she does recover or whatever to like really streamline it to the place that now, if something happens or I go away, he can do it easily. So that's what it's all about, is continually to come back, because you can't live with craziness. Like, especially if you see our house, like my stuff is upstairs. Like I have some stuff in my office, but then I have a nice hall that when you come up, it's like back. So I have shelves. My goal is to never go beyond my space. And Thomas has the whole basement, and it's like the neatest like place you can imagine. I mean, it actually looks like a thrift store in our basement, like shelves. He's got everything organized, and it just makes it so much easier. Okay, so here we go.
Because they sell fast.
Yeah.
They sell for a higher ROI usually too.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So that's a return of investment for those who don't know it. And yes, because I'll tell you a quick story. Thomas, in the beginning, when I told him I wanted to resell, he was saying, why don't you sell shoes? And I was like, yeah, I'm not interested in selling shoes. I don't want to touch anybody's shoes. I don't really feel like being bothered. So he would just say, well, let me bring you some anyway. And then that's when I started selling like Danskos and a few things. But again, when I decided to streamline my business, like Melissa just said, I had to think of what was going to bring me the most income on a little bit of time. Shoes are so easy to photograph, to package. You get those priority shoe mailing boxes, man. It's like a game changer in sending out, especially if you're selling on Poshmark, man. And then that's all. My husband sells more shoes than anything else. He sells other stuff, but more shoes, cowboy boots, every kind of sneaker, tennis shoe, depending on what part, he's listening while driving. You should only be listening, sweetie. No looking. So yes, he will tell you shoes is the way to go. So simplistic. And see, you just said you don't enjoy photographing. To me, they're so simple. And you just have to figure out what works for you, because we talked about that last night. If it's boots, get some, pool noodles or something to keep them
those are cool.
And if you need to, my goal, I didn't want to do a lot of repairs. Thomas, I call him a cobbler, because he'll sit, but what he does is he'll take one day a week and really work on the shoes. And then now he has those days to take pictures and stuff. So I just started doing that. I got some Doc Martin, Wonder Bomb, and some things. Like I'm not going to get anything in like straight up just repair, and a magic eraser, and I'm good to go. But Quimby, I definitely say really look for some shoes. Check out your brands. I sell a lot of Converse and Vans and things like that. But then it's sandal season. You can sell a flip flop. Like it'll amaze you. I just listed some Vera Bradley and some Tommy Hilfiger. Thomas he knows a shoe guy. So he's coming back from the shoe guy now. So he came in the other day with 40 pairs of shoes. I just took 12. He's going to come back now and he'll put all the shoes and say, take what you want. So it's just a wonderful, wonderful relationship.
A couple I love to follow is RNZY. It's Ryan and Lindsay.
Yes.
That's all they do, shoes.
Oh my gosh. Have you seen like their stuff? Oh my God.
I bought some Nikes from them and I love
it. Their shoe game is lit. I'm telling you,
right?
It's incredible. Between thrifting and retail arbitrage, it's amazing. It really is. There's another guy, I interviewed him, Caden Jett. Check him out on Instagram, and he has a serious shoe game going on. He sells all kinds of stuff, but there'll be days where he's just got like the boxes and stuff piled behind him, and I'm just like, wow, it's crazy. So Melissa, the last thing I want to talk about is your YouTube channel. Tell us about your YouTube channel. Why did you get started, right? What things do you talk about, and what is your goal for the future with your YouTube channel?
Well, I started it by doing haul videos. I like watching them, and so I wanted to contribute haul videos. So I started doing haul videos. I did somewhat sold videos. I'm starting to get back into what sold videos. I haven't done them for a few months. But now I do a lot of I do some thread up videos. I started doing some lives, and I recently got monetized, so that was exciting for me. And yeah, I enjoy doing them now. And I have a good setup, and so now I really enjoy doing it. But before, when I didn't have a good setup, I didn't really enjoy it. And it's like when you get people engaging with you, it makes it kind of worth it. And I like to this is what I'm doing. This is what's working for me. If I can help somebody else, that's really my ultimate goal with my YouTube channel, is to help other people like me do better.
Yeah. I love that you said that. That really is my goal all around. Like, what I get out of it is just being able to contribute to the community. And, because I'm nowhere near being monetized, and that was never my goal, because that's why I stopped. I stopped for a whole year doing YouTube and then just focus on Instagram. Right. But I love just being able to share, whether it be like if 2 weeks ago, baking cookies, for the community and teaching different things, Instagram and stuff like that. Everyone has their strengths. So why not just jump on and create like a video of what you're doing, especially if someone asks you a question on Instagram, you're like, oh, so let me go answer that question with a video,
So that's been really helpful, because then I'm like, oh, well, I have this video in my How to Thread Up playlist. You should go watch that.
Yeah. And I definitely say to people, go check out Melissa's channel, because if you don't, she had the opportunity and the income to afford the course. But right now, if you're in a space, and I talked about that earlier, if you're not in a space, do not spend that $100, because that could be grocery money,
Right.
But go check out her videos. This is what the community is all about. And that's why I wanted to have Melissa on, so she can talk about Thread Up and some of the things that she's doing. This community should be where we help each other, we shout out for each other, and we support each other any way that we can. So now I know Melissa, I'm always going to shout out Melissa. She jumps on in the comments. I'm shouting out as many people as I can, because what she's teaching, I'm probably not teaching, but at one point we're crossing over, but we're also, just part of a great community. Let me see what. Oh, so Quimby says, I've sold a lot of shoes, especially from bins, I guess, personal preference. Yeah. I have a lot of people who say that some people get grossed out. That's one thing. Like, oh, I'm not gonna touch people's shoes. But then you never know. Like, if you start talking about shoes on your lives, Quimby, somebody will probably say, wait, let me try. I was hesitant. And then now all of a sudden I'm making some money, because for real, the return of income, return of investment that I get from shoes is just like amazing. Like there's 40 shoes that Thomas brought in the other day. They were literally probably like $3 a pair that he paid.
Yeah.
And now we can list them from anywhere between $100 down to even $20. Like I have the flip flops listed for $18 or something. So you never know. And especially if a person who's short on space, shoes are the way to go, because you can stick them in bins, or you can create, like I have a hall closet. I do have space, but that's a good thing to sell if you have a little bit of space. So
yeah, I like selling everything, so I could never go to one thing.
Yeah, and only because I'm diversifying now, because I was that way. I love that. I love being able, I'm getting back into my handmade stuff, painting all these jeans and everything. But now that I'm selling like digital products and ebooks and all that, I was like, I'm pulling myself like crazy. That's why I needed a nap today, because I was just exhausted. And so I have to figure out, let's figure out what's really working for me. And I think
you enjoy.
Yeah, and exactly. And that's the thing. And I can always see, like, I've watched a couple of your videos. I'm like, she's having a good time with this. And that is the key, though. That's the key. Look at that smile. That's the key. See that smile right there? That's the key. It's like really enjoying it. Like, and then your audience is engaged and they're like, wow, I didn't think about that. And that's really what it's about. It's like, just like in this chat, I learned some things about Thread Up, because again, it's a misconception. Now people are going to start really thinking about what they're sending, because they probably were thinking, let me send all this, show me your moo and all that. But no, she just mentioned Ann Taylor. She mentioned a brand that I thought was a mall brand. It couldn't sell, but that has nothing to do with the platforms you're selling on.
Right.
ThreadUp will probably take it, but then, like she said, check the prices though. Check the prices.
Right.
Anything else you want to add today, Melissa?
All right, so I do so poorly with that question.
Any like advice for anyone who wants to sell on ThreadUp?
I say try it. I mean, honestly, try it and watch some videos about it and try it for yourself, because honestly, that is the best way to understand something. As I understand it, like I took that course, but I didn't quite understand a lot of it until I actually started experiencing it. And then I experienced things that Chriselle never did. And so I asked her, like, what do you do in this situation? She's like, I've never had that happen to me.
Wow.
So I had to like kind of navigate it by myself. But one thing I think is really crucial is to write everything down that you're sending and be vigilant when you need something corrected and use the chat system. I know it's not always up, but it is up majority of the time. So the chat system versus email can take 3 weeks if they reply at all, which sometimes sucks, but.
Awesome. Well, Melissa, I want to thank you for being on. Everyone follow Melissa at Vandi's Closet here on YouTube and on Instagram. Her YouTube videos are really incredible. Look at that beautiful background. I mean, that alone, it's like you see it, and that beautiful red hair, right? And her
right. People recognize me like in public, like, I know your red hair.
And this is how you can recognize me, right? So we have that advantage, and Quinn has the red hair too. So it's like
your beautiful head, my beautiful hair.
So I thank you so much, everyone. I thank you for joining us. I'm taking time out of your day. Tomorrow night at 8 p.m. I will be on with 5 wonderful women. It's going to be the Brown Girl edition. All these beautiful Black women talking and reselling, talking about their businesses. On Monday, the 11th, I'm going to have the Posh Kings. So tune in. I have a lot of great people coming on in the next couple of weeks. Thank you, Melissa, for being a part of this. I appreciate you so much. Friends, take care. And I'll put all the information in the comments. Bye, friends.
Bye.